When I'm looking at sports betting, it never ceases to amaze me how people are creative in finding ways to give away their money. Today, I want to talk to you about a very rookie play. This is often the first strategy that people develop when they first start betting sports. And a lot of times they think they're the first person to ever figure this out. The sad part about this is that even experienced bettors can fall into this trap. I saw a YouTube video the other day advocating for people to do this with home run props as well. It's something that people write in articles continuing to advocate this when they're betting college football. You may think this particular betting strategy is smart, but once you understand the why behind it, you'll understand that it's a very foolish way to bet. Thanks for joining. I started my channel to give people advice that I've learned over 20 years of betting. My personal philosophy is it's okay to lose when betting, but avoid traps so you can maximize your gain and minimize your pain. So about this bet today, when you make this bet, the bookmaker smiles when you win because he knows that you're going to be a long-term loser. So today we're going to cover this common trap and why it can be disastrous for you and your bankroll. So I pulled the lines for the first week of college football from DraftKings.com. So I identified 4 games: Florida Atlantic against Michigan State, Sam Houston against Rice, Nevada against Troy, Wyoming against Arizona State. So all of the home teams are very big favorites, with Troy being the largest favorite. You would need to bet $650 to win 100 if you wanted to bet Troy straight up. So a lot of bettors like the favorite in this particular situation, but they don't want to make that sort of bet where they're laying a lot of money to win very little. So then they parlay these 4 teams together, and combining these in a parlay means that every single one of them needs to win in order for you to win your bet. If a single one loses, you lose your bet. But DraftKings is willing to pay you $143 for your $100 bet. So the bet we're going to discuss today is what's called the chalk parlay. So chalk refers to laying the chalk. Back in the old days of sports betting, when people would write the odds in chalk on a chalkboard, if you wanted to bet the favorite, you would lay the chalk. So a chalk parlay is when we parlay or combined different large moneyline favorites into one single bet. So if you've already understood this point, you already got it, please feel free to close the video. But if you want, stick around and I'll walk through the math of why this is a foolish course of action and a bad bet. So this is very common in college football, also in college basketball. This is because those sports tend to have these large favorites. You know, an NFL team is never really that far behind another NFL team. You can occasionally get some large money lines, but not enough to really parlay a lot of teams together. The example I'm showing here is actually a better one. A lot of people will bet more teams, or they'll bet heavier favorites, something like Alabama minus 1,000 or Michigan minus 1,500 against much weaker teams. So it only gets worse from here. This would likely be one of the better ones, but nevertheless, a very common betting strategy that's led to a lot of heartbreak and pain. So let's walk through the math of why this is a bad bet. So I took the odds here from the games, and those are shown in the first 4 columns. And the first thing we need to do is calculate our raw winning percentages. So this is very easy to do. If you've watched my video on the most important formula in sports betting, I'll put a link in the description. It tells you exactly how to calculate all these calculations. So first thing we do is for our underdogs, our away teams. We take 100, we divide it by the odds here. So Florida Atlantic, that'd be 360 plus 100, we get 460. Divide 100 by 460, we get 21.7%. So that's their raw winning percentage. So we do that for all of the underdog teams, and we do it for all the favorites. The favorites are a little bit different. We take the odds, make them positive, divide them by 100 plus the positive odds, and that gives us our winning percentage for the favorite teams. So we add these 2 percentages together and we get the overround. So the overround is the entire market, both teams' winning percentages, plus what they refer to as the VIG or the vigorish. So the VIG is a fee that the bookmaker takes. They don't pay your bets out at full odds. You know, they need to take some to have commercials during the Super Bowl, pay their employees, things like that. So they don't really give you fair odds. They take a little advantage from it. So it's easy to get from the raw odds to the VIG free odds. All we need to do is we just take our winning percentages and we divide them by the overround to get our VIG free winning percentages. So these are the real percentages of what the team should win, how often they should win, and we can use these to determine really our advantage on our parlay. So if you look at the home winning percentage for Michigan State, with the VIG, the market is telling you that your bet should win 82.5% of the time. But with that VIG removed, your real odds at actually winning that bet are 79.1%. So how do we use that then to get our winning percentage of our parlay? So we multiply all of those numbers together, and that gives us a winning percentage of around 35%. Again, our payout is 143, so that's 1.43 times our money if we were to win our bet. And what is our house edge? How much money are we giving to the book when we make this bet? And so our house edge is actually an astonishing 15%. So for every $100 that we bet on this parlay, we should expect to lose $15.50. So the normal VIG on a straight bet, again, if you watch that video, is roughly 4.5%. So we've more than tripled that to bet this parlay. And you may say, Swaption, in your video on You'll Never Bet Parlays Again, you told us that a 3-team parlay is a lot less horrible than a 4-team parlay. And that's very true. So what if we only took the first 3 teams? We only parlayed Michigan State, Rice, and Troy. So our winning percentage jumps up to 51%. But if we look at DraftKings, we punch that parlay in, the payout is now minus 139. We would have to bet $139 to win 100. And our house edge on that parlay is 12.9. So I'll link both those videos in the description so that you can take a look at that and learn the math behind them. So already this seems like a very bad idea, but you would tell me, I'm a sharp, I'm a hitter, I'm a long-term winner, the favorites that I like are undervalued. Man, okay, that's fine. Let's take a look at the math on that. So if we give you a 3% advantage on each favorite, which would give you an advantage on the straight bets, you're winning the straight bets, your parlay is now going to move to about 41% of a winning chance. So if we look here, we have the away VIG-free percentages in the middle. We add 3% to each of those. So now we're expecting our team at Michigan State, VIG-free was 79.1%, if you remember. Now we've moved that up to, you're going to win that bet 82.1% of the time. So then we multiply all those together, and we end up with, close to 41%. However, our hold is still negative. And this is an important point that I want you to come away with, is that your hold is still negative. Even if you beat them by 3%, which is a great win. If you're betting 3% on straight bets and you're able to calculate the odds 3% better than the bookmaker, you're going to win money long term. When you combine it into these chalk parlays, you're still losing. So what if you do the opposite? What's the question is, okay, so if I want to parlay big favorites, it's a bad bet. What if I want to parlay dogs instead? Okay, we can do that. So when we parlay the dogs, in this case, we're going to take Florida Atlantic plus Sam Houston plus Nevada plus Wyoming, all the need to win. What's our payout? So our payout is actually plus $33,723. So a $100 bet would yield over $33,000. So our chance to win that is rounded up. It's actually closer to 0.0025, something like that. It's still negative. Our hold on that is almost the same as our parlay on the favorite at minus 15%. But here's a real key point that I want to make, is that if we're right the same amount, being better than 3%, so instead of Florida Atlantic winning the game at 21%, we think it's closer to 24%. Now when we multiply the odds, we took the underdogs, we're actually getting a positive hold of almost 42%. So amazing. So this would be that you would make these type of parlays every weekend for years, and you would eventually hit one for a big payout. But really, all the money you bet over time, you'd see a return of close to 42%. So this is a very important point when we talk about betting favorites versus underdogs. And this is a concept that I've come up with the name for it of convexity. I've never really seen it written about. If there's a different term, you've heard of it, please let me know in the comments. So what does convexity mean? So that small percentage moves lead to greater hold when we bet underdogs. So if you're a hitter, if you're sharp, and you want to really magnify your winning percentage, bet underdogs. Not to this extent. I wouldn't really advocate for this. I don't like the return profile of it. Even I am not willing to lose, 10,000 bets in a row just to hit that one winning one at the bottom. But this can lead you to understanding of why bookies love this bet, why sportsbooks love this bet, is because there's really not any upside. So the first question is, how do we win betting sports? And you could say, well, we win our bets if we make some money. And that's true. But how we win long term is by getting better percentages calculated than the market has. So in the short term, yes, it's winning our bets. In the long term, it's can we better identify probabilities than the market as a whole for the games. So when you're betting these large favorites, these large parlays, these chalk parlays, even if that's the case, it takes you a lot more mispricing to get to a level of return. And the other way to think about it is really, what are bookmakers afraid of? What are sportsbooks afraid of? You could say the same thing. Well, they're afraid of me winning bets. Okay, sure. But what they're really scared about, keeps them up at night, what stops them from sleeping, is that they're going to misprice a game and get hit on it. When you bet these large favorites, there's not really a lot of margin for them to get hit on. If you're betting something that's 82%, how much probability can it really be different? You could say it could go to 100%. Yeah, that's true, but that's a lot less likely. You have a much lower ceiling for returns on your bets versus when you're parlaying dogs. So really the combination of a low ability for you to beat the bookmaker on the odds, as well as a high house advantage, really leads this to be the bookmaker's parlay, the favorite parlay. And they love it when you bet these. They're laughing when they pay you. They know you're a great customer when you bet these parlays. So I hope this information helped. I hope I've convinced you and you'll avoid this. And if I have, and you're going to avoid this, do me a favor, put in the comments, I reject chalk parlays and all of their empty promises. Once again, put in the comments, I reject chalk parlays and all of their empty promises. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.